How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson. Thank you so much for tuning in. And in this video, I'm installing the front lip, side skirts, and rear aprons for Project BRZ. Alright, so what we have here is a replica front lip, side skirts, and rear apron. That's a copy from the 2015 Subaru BRZ Series.Blue. I bought these from eBay from the vendor Basin R. And you could tell that these are replicas because it doesn't exactly have the same quality and workmanship as the actual thing. So as you can see from the side skirts that there is no STI badging that's normally found here, and there's also no STI badging that you could find here on the front lip. The front lip's made from polyurethane, while the side skirts and rear aprons are made of ABS plastic. You could tell there's a big difference in material because the polyurethane is a lot more flexible, while the ABS plastic is very rigid and very tough. It's very obvious that you want to make the front lip material out of polyurethane because this is going to take a lot more beating than the side skirts or the rear aprons. And the whole reason why I bought this is because I'm using this as a cone protection program, I guess, because I'd like to take this thing autocrossing, and I'm definitely going to be running over a lot of cones as I'm trying to better myself as an autocross / track driver. One note I do want to make is that when you buy these lips from eBay, there's a lot of preparation that you need to do. You need to install some of these brackets. So I needed to buy a rivet gun to install this to install this bracket onto the side skirts, and also install this weather stripping and double-sided tape on the perimeter, basically where it's going to touch the body. I just put on double-sided tape and this weather stripping. So without further ado, let's get this thing installed, and let's first start by jacking up this car. You normally have to have a second pair of hands or maybe a third pair of hands to do this, but since I'm all alone, I'm going to basically rely on these expanding bolts to help put this in place while I can mark the other holes for drilling. These are normally one-time use, but you could kind of salvage it several more times as long as you don't break it apart when you pull it out. So there it is, just a rough test fit of everything. Everything seems to generally line up from the exterior. Doesn't look half bad. Of course, I haven't bolted everything in, but I'm just checking the fitment on the sides. Some of these parts will stretch, so that's good. So from here I could start marking up where the other holes line up. Just a quick side note, when you buy the replica lips, you get a set of these self-tapping screws. I'm going to use most of these, but to basically upgrade the way it's fastened to the car, I got a bunch of these expansion nuts. They go by different names. They call them well nuts or rubber rib nuts. They have a bunch of different names, but you could get this at your local hardware store. Just be aware that they don't stock a lot of these. I was only able to find about 5 of each size, so I decided to get a set of 1/4-inch 20s. So I'm just going to take the screwdriver, and this is a ghetto way of doing it, but I'm just going to kind of mark where I need to drill the holes. So now you can kind of see where I marked the holes a little bit. I'm going to use self-tapping screws for most of these, but I think there's select ones that I'm going to use the expanding nut. I think I want to use it here, just because it's I don't have a lot of them, so I'm just going to use them sparingly. And of course, when you drill into this, just be careful to kind of not drill out the other side and damage the finish. So for the holes that I'm going to use the self-tapping screws, I just drilled a bunch of 5/32 drill size holes. For the expansion nut, obviously they're a lot larger. You don't have to go super fast in the drill because this is a very soft material. See if this can fit in there. And yes, it can. Beautiful. So that's going to be a lot stronger than these self-tapping screws. And I'm going to do that over here and over here too. And the rest I'm just going to use self-tapping screws. So since I'll be using this hole, that hole, and this hole for the expansion nuts, the 1/4-20" screws are actually bigger than this hole, so I'm going to use a 1/4" bit and just enlarge some of these holes. So already just with 2 of the screws and the expansion nut, it's kind of coming together, and I'm already looking at it. It looks like it's going to line up real well. And the nice thing about the expansion nut is that when you screw it in, the threaded end and the head is going to come together and basically kind of squeeze just like a rivet. So that's going to be a pretty stout connection. Again, I only have 4 of those, but the rest I'm just going to use as self-tapping screws, which I think should be good enough. So I'm already discovering a downside to this replica lip is that they didn't give me the proper fasteners to mount these holes on this hole. So typically you'd get some sort of a retaining clip or retaining nut, kind of like this. This is for the rear apron, and they gave me these for so that this can clip onto the fender, and then these screws can use that as a nut. But for the front lip, they did not provide me with one. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be sloppy, but I'm just going to drill into the existing fender or the bumper. It's not going to be as strong, but if it gets loose, then I could always install it in the future. So for now, I'm just going to use the self-tapping screws and just secure this end in. Holy crap, and there you have it. The front lip is installed. It looks pretty decent for a replica. I'm going to ignore putting the screw in here just because anytime I want to take the fender well off, I could just undo this one screw, and plus this one screw is sitting on top of one of these guys expanding screws. So I just want to leave that open. Again, they didn't supply me with a retaining nut, so I'm just not going to utilize that. In terms of just how everything lines up, it looks pretty decent. So let's just take a look at the underside of it all. Now that the front lip's installed, now it's time to move on to the side skirts. Now you're probably not going to have this problem, but with this exact car, there's these rubber trim guards installed that I need to trim off. For the front, it's okay because it'll clear the side skirt, but for the rear, I'm gonna have to make some incision up here just because the side skirt goes all the way up to here. So what I'll do is I'll just take a knife and just cut that off, and then use Glue Gun to remove some of the adhesive behind here. Alright, so now moving on to the side skirt install. As I mentioned before, there needs to be some sort of pre-installation steps that you need to do. Basically, you need to put on this weather stripping, the double-sided tape, and you need a rivet gun or rivet tool to put these brackets on there. I'm not really a fan of how this lip is or how these side skirts are delivered because they don't really give you the proper fasteners. They ask you to reuse these one-time captive screws that's on the existing car, so if for some reason that has fallen out, you're SOL. So don't normally want to reuse these things, but I'm going to have to for this specific install. And the way this is also secured onto the car is that you have these brackets that basically you tighten these down, and these hug onto the frame rails. And again, they're not very secure, but I'm counting on these double-sided tape and also the friction between this bolt and the frame rail to kind of hold everything together. Then again, this is not going to see a lot of impact or anything like that, so hopefully these will hold up. I will let you know otherwise. And just like that, the one side of the side skirt install is done. I was wrong about the fasteners and the brackets. I think this is fairly stout. It's enough to kind of hold on to the side skirt. onto the car. A couple of things to note. The weather stripping here, it's not really weather stripping, I think it's just a guard, because you can see there's cracks here where water can get in, and it's not really like you have to keep water out of this section of the car. I think it's really just to guard against the paint from the sharp edges of the side skirt. There isn't really any sharp edges, but when you're driving around, the vibration and everything if you don't have any piece of rubber to protect it against the vibration, you're going to get some scratching and you're going to ruin the finish. So if at any point you want to take the side skirt off, you're not going to see a mark on the paint. So pretty good design, and I think this is found in the actual side skirt of the actual BRZ Series.Blue. So with this one, it looks like the finish is pretty good. Again, you don't have the STI badging in here, but that's okay. So from a distance, I think this looks pretty fantastic. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Well, there you have it. Now the front lip's installed and both sides of the side skirts are installed. Finish is not too bad. Again, you want to kind of supplement the kit with your own double-sided tape. I think I'm going to put some more double-sided tape on this side just because it's kind of flopping around. Now it's time to install the side skirts. This is probably the easiest one to install. I don't want to jinx it just yet, but basically just remove this, just like the side skirts. They want you to reuse these one-time use fasteners. And it's finally installed. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Just a couple of important notes when you're buying stuff from eBay. You know, chances are you're gonna get what you paid for, but when it comes to the front lip, side skirts, and just generally like plastic trim pieces, your chances of getting parts that are gonna line up is, I think, pretty decent. This is a nice budget option if you're not looking for authentic parts from Subaru that's going to cost thousands of dollars. Overall, the front lip, the side skirts, and the rear aprons, it cost me $270. The vendor for these parts is Basin R, and I'll link to their store down below. This isn't like a sponsored post or anything like that, but just for you guys, if you are interested in buying these, the front lip, side skirts, and the rear aprons, I'll link to it down below. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video and I'm going to show you some footage for the next episode. That's right, I'm getting some wheels and tire upgrades, and I cannot wait to put that together and show you what I got. Let's set that aside for now. And here we are. As this wheel is supplied with, I think it's going to look fantastic. It's going to complete the look with the side skirts and front lip that I just installed. And let me know what you think down below. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already, please do it right now so you can get updates anytime we make these videos. Let me know what you think about Project BRZ so far. If there are any other modifications that you'd like to see me do, please let me know in the comments below, and maybe we'll just do it. We'll see. So anyway, thanks for tuning in and watching till the end, and I'll see you next time.